bulking is officially vaulted. That seems to be the narrative that the majority of the science-based lifters are starting to take, right? Bulking not necessary for muscle growth and all this sort of stuff. And younger me, and specifically you as well right now, are probably very, very confused. Half of the internet are saying no, bulking is necessary to gain mass and all this sort of stuff. Half of the internet saying no, it's vaulted, and you don't know what to do. So I'm going to give you the blatant reasons whether you could or could not bulk, and then you can decide. Take some responsibility and decide for yourself. I'm going to give you all of the options and you can decide. In the year of 2025, I did my first proper bulk. I gained 12 kg from July 2025 to now. I put 20 kg on my bench, 30 kg on my squat. I got stronger in every single lift. I fill out clothes so much more. It's easier for me to lift people up. And I hit 26 PRs in a variety of sets across various muscle groups in the month of December 2025 alone. I am so much stronger now because of this bulk. So I think I know one or two things about bulking. So I'm going to lay everything out for you. Reasons why you could or could not bulk. And I'll let you make the decision. Reasons to bulk. So you could bulk for increasing your strength. You know, PRs, hitting PRs is amazing. You could help your family with whatever it may be, like hard labor or whatever. It could be as simple as helping your grandparents lift their luggage out of the car, and you can finally do it with ease, right? So many people will view you as strong, and that will give you a sense of achievement, a sense of fulfillment. Another thing is you can pick up girls a lot easier. I remember being in a club on holiday and I could literally just pick this girl up. She wrapped her arms around me and I just went like that. And I promise you I couldn't have done that when I was peak lean, or it would have been significantly more difficult for me. And that allowed me to gain a sense of attraction. So bulking can have a variety of different uses, and one of them is obviously strength gain. So do you want to gain strength? Ask yourself this question. Mass moves mass. That's why every bloody powerlifter, every strongman is like 200 kg. All the strongest ones, weight classes aside, the strongest powerlifters, the strongest strongmen are fucking huge. How far would you reduce Bjornsson? He's got the world record deadlift, 510 kg. He's like 6'9", 200 kg at least. He's fucking huge. Brian Shaw, regarded as one of the strongest people to ever live, right? He's won the world's strongest man 7 times. He's 6'8", easily 400 pounds, 450 pounds, right? He's like 150 pounds above the max limit to be a heavyweight in the UFC, right? So he is extremely heavy and they can lift a fuck ton of weight, and that's because mass moves mass. So whether you put on weight, whether it'll be fat or muscle, you will be able to hit those PRs and more likely. You are more likely to lift more weight when you are heavier. It's just that simple. So think to yourself, do I want to lift more weight? If the answer is yes, a bulk may be correct for you. Another thing, you could fill out clothes. You can finally look like you go to the gym without taking your clothes off. The only time you go to the gym when you look like you go to the gym when you're peak lean is when your shirt is off, when you're at the beach or when you're in the gym, right? When you bulk, you fill out clothes so much better, and people can they can't help but to see your physique. They can't ignore it. You know, the shirt that you wear, maybe the polo that you wear is tight around your arms or whatever it may be. And that can get you a lot of sense of respect in the rest of your life. You can navigate conversations better at dinner because you're bigger. You look like you have self-respect. You fill out clothes, you look the part all of the time is what I'm trying to say. So you can fill out clothes which will cause you to fill with self-confidence, be more competent as a result, and can benefit other areas of life. So if you want to fill out more clothes, you want to feel more confident in day-to-day life, not just in the gym or at the beach, a bulk could be necessary for you. And also you have a larger frame. A larger frame can be associated with traits of like masculinity, or just confidence in general. People will start moving out the way for you. People will speak to you differently when you have a larger frame. There's a reason why intimidation can come from size. Because you have a larger frame, you're more intimidating, and people will position themselves below you. Because you have this large frame, you get more respect. You get more self-confidence because you're bigger than other people, right? You probably can attract the correct, like, a better woman for you, because if you have a larger frame, you become more attractive in some ways if you don't get absolutely fat, right? So having a larger frame could be beneficial in your life. You can feel more confident, more secure in yourself. You can get rid of some of those insecurities. Again, you can get stronger, fill out your clothes. There are many reasons to bulk. So if you want a larger frame, if you want more respect from men, if you want to feel more confident, bulking, again, could be necessary for you. Number 2, bulking does not increase muscle growth. Bet you weren't expecting that, right? Muscle growth is something called signal dependent, which basically means when you train your muscle, in simple terms, you will grow it. Nothing else is going to build that muscle for you, right? Muscle grows from mechanical tension, training intensity, and actually lifting the weights, right? And if you don't do those things, then you will not build muscle. So eating more food does not increase the rate that you build muscle. If you stopped training and just started eating, you wouldn't build muscle. That's why obese people have no muscle on them, because eating more food does not accelerate muscle growth. It is signal dependent and hormone dependent, which is why steroids work, right? So, food does not directly increase muscle growth. Think of that word, directly. However, food can indirectly increase muscle growth. The reason why the majority of people are saying that bulk increases muscle growth is because when you bulk, you have more food, more energy in your system. And what this is going to do is better your training performance, better your recovery, better your sleep, better your mental state, which then all impact your ability to put on muscle, right? So it's kind of like fuel. It's fuel to the engine, is the engine that makes the muscle. The food is like the fuel, and making sure you have enough of this with a bulk can improve your recovery, improve your performance, which again improves the signal that you will begin delivering to your muscles to grow, right? So food can indirectly build muscle, but not directly. Just eating more food isn't going to build your muscle, but eating food can increase your performance, okay? That's why people can build muscle on a cut, because again, food does not directly increase muscle growth. But that's why the majority of people lose muscle on a cut, because when you reduce your food intake, your recovery becomes worse, your sleep becomes worse, your mental state becomes worse, your training performance becomes worse, and that's where the muscle turns into atrophy, right? Which means losing muscle. So you understand that, right? Eating more food will not build you more muscle, but eating more food can better your recovery, better your training, so you do build more muscle, right? So that's the conclusion that we've came to, right? And I want to tell you exactly how you navigate a bulk so you can build the maximum amount of muscle. So the suggestion that I've got, if you do want to bulk for maximum muscle growth, is I want you to have the slightest surplus. Not for the gaining weight aspect, not for anything else. The only reason you're going to have this slight surplus is to guarantee yourself that you're having enough food, enough carbs, having enough energy to maximize your performance, your recovery, your mental state. And that all is going to improve your training, which means that you're going to have better gains. That's why we're talking a slight weight increase. Okay? So having a massive weight increase, a massive calorie increase is just going to put on more fat, and that's not going to accelerate muscle growth. But having that slight increase, remember, we're not doing this bulk to gain weight, we're doing this bulk to maximize muscle growth. Having that slight increase could just make sure that you're having enough food to train good, essentially. That is it. And recover well and have a good mental state. That is it. The era of bulking for gaining weight doesn't make any sense if you want to maximize muscle growth. Now, if you want to gain weight to get stronger, fill out clothes, have a larger frame like I did this year, completely fine. Again, when people say bulking's vaulted, I hate that sentence because it's dismissing what other people want to do. Other people may have a different goal to you, so it's important that you decide what goal you want to have and then make the decision from that. Do you want to get stronger? Do you want to fill out clothes? Do you want to have a larger frame? Then bulk. Do you want to maximize muscle growth? Then have a slight increase and just make sure that you have the right food so you're recovered and therefore can train really, really well. See how there's a difference? I hope you understand that difference, because I don't want you to have a massive bulk so you can maximize muscle growth when it doesn't increase muscle growth and you just put on a load of fat for no reason. Number 3, how to bulk. Now, if you're above 15 and above % body fat, I would suggest not doing this at all. The main reason is because you can repurpose fat tissue. If you've already got a high amount of body fat on your body, this can be repurposed. So you know how we talked about you need an extra 100 to 200 calories to be able to maximize the amount of energy that you have. When you already have a lot of fat on your body can just use that extra fat tissue to then have maximum amount of energy sources so you can train really, really well. You can repurpose your fat tissue. So if you're above 15-16% body fat, there's no need for you to have a surplus of 100, 200, 300 calories, because you can get your fat tissue repurposed and act as that extra 100, 200, 300 calories. And that way you can have maximum amount of energy for muscle growth. And you might even lose weight in the process. But if you're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14% body fat, I would suggest going on a slight increase above maintenance. So first you want to find your maintenance, which you can do either by finding the calorie calculator app, or you can just eat a certain amount of food, a certain amount of calories, have a guess what your maintenance calories is, and then constantly weigh yourself every day until your weight balances out. We have so many tutorials on weight gain, weight loss, calorie surplus, calorie deficit in my course down in the description. I have a whole plethora of videos on diet, along with the workout routines that you can download, cues, and a lot of exclusive knowledge that not other many people and other influencers are talking about in my course down in the description. You also have personal access, message access to me, which fitness coaches charge thousands of pounds for, so go and check it out. I would suggest you find your maintenance, then add 100 to 200 calories on top of that, just to make sure that you're definitely getting enough energy so you can recover. That is it. Now, how do I maintain this? How do I make sure that I'm maintaining this bulk? I would suggest having a meal list and an ingredient list. That is how we're going to navigate. Here he goes again, talking about meal and ingredient list. First, make your ingredient list, right? I want you to think of 20 to 30 ingredients that you will eat for the rest of your life. That is it. That is it. Think of 20 to 30 ingredients. You can split it up into protein sources, carb sources, fruits and veg, and accessories. I'll explain what accessories are in a minute. So protein sources: meat, steak, mince. Do you want me to name fucking meat for you? Chicken, fish. Carbohydrate sources: potato, sweet potato, rice. Right? Do you want me to keep naming fucking things for you? Fruits and veg: grapes, kiwis, apples, bananas, whatever it may be. And then accessories are foods that don't really fit into these categories, but it's still whole foods, are still pretty good. So like eggs, Greek yogurt, whole salted butter, almond butter. I can go on and on. Creatine, unflavored protein powder. You want to make a list of 20 ingredients that you can make. I have a more in detail video on this, so maybe if I can put it up on the screen now, I can link you to that one as well. You want to make 20 to 30 ingredients that you will eat from, and then once you've collected your 20 to 30 ingredient list, then I want you to make a meal list from these ingredients. So meal 1, 6 eggs, 4 toast, 50 grams of cheese, salted butter, and a coffee. That's my breakfast, for example. And then second meal, 300 grams of chicken breast, 1 cup of uncooked brown rice with another coffee. That's my second meal. Then third meal, I usually say family meal. We usually have spaghetti bolognese or something like that. So 500 grams of spaghetti bolognese or whatever it may be, right? You want to make meals from the ingredient list that you just made. And then here's the key: you want to eat them meals at the same time every single day, almost like a meal schedule. So you will do 10 a.m, 6 eggs, 4 toast, coffee, 50 grams of cheese, la 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 la. 1 p.m, chicken and rice. 4 p.m. this, 7 p.m. that, and you will eat the same meals every single day at the same time. You will have an ingredient list, a meal list, and a meal schedule. And the most important thing that I want you to take in when you make the ingredient list, the meal list, the schedule, all this sort of stuff, is make sure all the ingredients and all the foods that you are making are accessible to you, and that you can cook them as well. Look, there's no point you making a meal list about ideal foods that you want to eat that you do not have in your house. As a teenager, you have very little control over the food that comes into your house. I understand that, and that's why it's so important that you pick foods that you already have access to. So for me, I have a lot of chicken, a lot of beef, a lot of steak, because them meats are accessible to me. My family, I am lucky enough, I am privileged enough that my family are able to afford and buy these things for me, so I can include them in my ingredients list. If you have a lot more access to fish, have fucking fish, have more tuna, whatever it may be. If, unlike me, I have a lot of access to rice, if you have a lot of access to sweet potato, have more sweet potato. You do not have to copy me, you don't have to copy anyone else. You have to make sure that it is easy and as frictionless as possible for you to eat really, really good foods on a bulk. So you will make all these foods and ingredients, make sure they're accessible, and make sure you can cook them as well. right? You're a stupid teenager, you can't cook. So make sure the foods that you do pick, you can prepare yourself. You can't rely on your parents, you can't rely on anyone else. Make sure you can cook them. And if you can't, fucking learn to cook them. There's so many tutorials out there. Once you've made your ingredient list, your meal list, and your meal schedule, then you want to just play around with MyFitnessPal until you get the right calories that you need to eat. So let's say your maintenance is 3,000 calories, and let's say you want to eat 3,100 calories to be able to make sure that you're just above the maintenance, but making sure that you have maximum amount of food so that you can recover and train really, really well. You've made your meals, you say you want eggs, you want toast, you want cheese, and you want butter, right? That's me, for example. Now you go on MyFitnessPal and you just play around with the quantities of each food until they reach a calorie goal that you kind of think, you know what, that's going to allow me to achieve my goal of 3,100 calories. So for me, it'd probably be like 3 toast, maybe 5 eggs, probably 30 grams of cheese and 10 grams of butter, right? And a coffee as well. That will probably add up to maybe, off the top of my head, 800 calories to 1,000 calories. That's meal 1 done. You know that that's a third of your intake. That'll probably allow you to add up to the enough calories that you need in the total. And then you go into your second meal. How much of this meal can I have? How many calories will that be? And you keep tweaking around until you find the exact quantities of each food that you are happy with that gets you to the calorie goal that you need every single day. And more often than likely, here's an interesting part, more often than likely, this will allow you to hit your protein goal and carb goal as well. If you make balanced foods that are made from whole foods, you'll probably hit your protein goal and carb goal accidentally. I've made a routine now accidentally that hits my calorie goal, my protein goal, and my carb goal, and my fat goal, all at the same time without having to change any foods any day whatsoever. So it's so easy for me to eat the right foods now because all I have to do is live to my routine, eat the same foods, and I'm hitting every single macronutrient and calorie goal because I just tweaked around with it on MyFitnessPal until it made sense for me. And that's all you have to do. Just tweak around with the quantities of the food that you've chosen until it is right for you. And then just live by it. Eat the same foods at the same time every single day with the same amount of quantity, and you will hit your carb goals. You will hit your calorie goals, your macronutrient goals, and your fitness goals. It is that simple. And you never have to worry about being low on energy. You never have to worry about, do I bulk or do I not? I've answered it for you today. You can decide yourself. And again, if you want to properly bulk to gain size for strength and stuff like that, do the same process, the meal list, the ingredient list, the schedule, the play around with the quantities on MyFitnessPal, but just make it 300 or 400 above your maintenance. That's it. That is it. That's the only difference. So it works for any scenario that you decide to choose. It also works for a cut. You just have to decide to have less than your maintenance. So this is technically actually a guide on cutting, bulking, maintaining your just diet in general. This video is super fucking valuable. We go into more depth in my course down in the description. If the food that you are eating is too much, if you are struggling to eat enough food, you can do 2 things, right? Let's say you've picked, you want to have 3,100 calories, right? And that's just a lot of food for you to eat. You're not used to eating that much food. 1, if you're only maintaining and just having slight calories above your maintenance, this will probably not be a problem. Your maintenance is a maintenance for a reason. That's because you've been eating that amount of food for your entire life. Right? So having 100, 200 calories above that will not be a problem, right? If you are still struggling, you're only slightly above your maintenance, you're probably not slightly above your maintenance, you're probably a lot higher than your maintenance. So you can use this as a sign to say, you know what, I'm probably gaining weight a little bit more than I should do here because it's hard for me to eat that amount. If you're only slightly above your maintenance, it will not be difficult for you to eat, because you've been eating at that maintenance for your entire life. What's an extra 100, 200 calories going to do, right? But let's say you're bulking to gain strength, fill out clothes. It can be difficult. It can be very difficult to eat that amount of food, especially if you're not used to it. So a hack that I've got is liquid calorie hacks. So you can either blend your food, which again is fine. It looks worse than it actually is. Blend your food can be completely fine. Or you can split your meals up into more frequent meals. This is why bodybuilders have like 6, 7, 8 meals a day, because eating a massive portion of food can be extremely filling. So if they split it up into little meals, it can become more doable for them. So do them 2 things if you're struggling to eat that amount of food. Take advantage of liquid calories. I take advantage of having a lot of coffee all of the time because it's an easy liquid calories that I can just down. That's probably why I have an insane caffeine intolerance. Or just split your meals up, make smaller and smaller meals if you are struggling to bulk. And then the last piece of advice that I've got is just try and do it at the same time every day. When you do things at the same time every day, the importance of the meal schedule, there's a whole module in my course about the schedule, right? Because I think it's very, very important. When you eat things at the same time every day, when you do things at the same time every day, it becomes autopilot, it becomes part of who you are. You start to gain momentum. For the first 1, 2, 3 weeks, it can be hard to integrate this habit of bulking or not bulking, depending on what you want to do. Just having a better diet in general. It can be hard to integrate it, but after those 2-3 weeks, if you do it at the same time consistently, it becomes part of your routine, it becomes habitual, and you start to gain momentum. And that means that you'll never quit and you start to become insanely consistent. The reason that you struggle to become consistent is because there's variety in the things that you do. Your training sessions are sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening, so you've got no actual backbone to your training schedule. You're eating, sometimes you're eating here, sometimes you're eating later on, sometimes you're not eating at all. There's no backbone to your diet schedule, and that's why you're inconsistent. So do things at the same time every single day, whether that's food, training, or whatever it is, any habit that you want to integrate, and I guarantee you will see insane consistency. So that is the only bulking video you will ever fucking need for the rest of your life. I've removed all the ambiguity for you. You can or you can't bulk. Bulking isn't going to maximize muscle growth, like heavy extreme bulk, and obviously we knew that anyway, but you can bulk for other reasons like lifting weights, filling out clothes, having a larger frame, hitting PRs, right? And also a slight bulk can actually just maximize the amount of energy that you have, which will then indirectly increase muscle growth. Remember, food does not directly increase muscle growth, it indirectly increases muscle growth. So I've laid that out for you. If you want to have insane strength, fill out clothes, have a larger frame, bulk. If you want to only maximize muscle growth, I would say either maintain or have a couple of 100 calories above maintenance, because it can maximize your energy sources to guarantee you are having the best sessions possible. There are the two decisions you've got. Do what you want, have the responsibility, and decide today. So without further ado, boys, check the links down in the description for the course for more advice like this. Again, direct message access to me, which fitness coaches are charging thousands and thousands of pounds for. It's a fucking steal, bro. You will achieve the dream physique that you've always wanted. So without further ado, bro, I've got a chest day today. Have a good session, and I will see you later.